What's up everybody, it's Joe from JLB Games coming at you with another cool video back in Planet Coaster in our pirate park. So in this episode is pretty much going to be detailing this area of the park with all these pathways and elevated pathways and pretty much around the wing coaster and stuff like that. So this idea right here was just to create kind of like a little extra barrier here at the bottom of this track next to the queue line. To kind of complement the bottom of the coaster. I thought it'd be kind of cool just to have this little wooden structure around the area and such like that. So I believe I put railing. No, I did I? Or did I just literally put a oh yeah, I put these blue things here, that's right. And I wanted to put like a fence of some sort around it, but that didn't actually end up happening. This queue line is basically just going to be outdoor decorated. It's not anything special. It's not even a long queue line for this ride. I guess I didn't want to do too much for this ride. I mean, it's kind of one of those coasters that will be the short. It's like a fast ride, kind of. You know, it's a nice, fast, cool ride. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's gonna move its lines most likely pretty quickly, to say the least. So yeah, and the entrance, I like using the rock style entrance for the theming around the park, and I think it looks pretty cool and pretty hip and stuff like that. Hip people don't say hip anymore, so yeah. There's trees everywhere, and again there's going to be a another roller coaster being built in the next episode, so make sure you're staying tuned for that. I'm hoping that it will not lag the game out too much for my cinematic video, and I hope the cinematic video turns out pretty smooth. Now, I'm actually going to use extra effects in the cinematic video and add some possible motion blur effects, and I think it will actually add a lot of realism and make it look really cool in the long run, for that. So this is me just kind of figuring out what I'm going to do next, and that's staying that long in the time lapse. That's the funny part. So I knew I had to create a fence around this area here for the coaster, because you know it's gotta be a perimeter fence for the ride so people can't get in the perimeter. And so yeah, I decided to create kind of my own custom fence here with kind of this ladder and these little wooden posts that I'm going to create a weird type thing, and I actually don't think I end up going with this in the long run. I tried to, and it wasn't going to work out. I couldn't get the duplicate tool to do exactly what I want, and that was to duplicate the entire thing, and I didn't want to create this whole thing all the way around, so I was like, well, the wooden fence it is, and I'll just double stack it for extra supports for the perimeter, you know, and it ended up working pretty good. And again, I wish you could, like, I don't know why I won't let you select more than one object for some reason, but I haven't been able to figure that out, so I just place each one individually stacked and just continue on my way, and that's how it's going to be. And I really am waiting for that chain link fence, but for theming wise, I think this probably would have worked better anyways, so that works out for the theme anyways, and that's what kind of like I'm going for this theme. And anyways, there's just like so much going on during this recording, so if you hear me laughing or some weird noises in the background, yeah, That's probably why. So this will connect over here with this, and the other part will connect with the exit of the ride. So that nice perimeter fence around this first part of the coaster. And again, you don't want guests wandering around the perimeter of a coaster. That's bad news. So you gotta create these perimeter gates and fences, so you can't have any guests in the perimeter while the ride is in operation. And I'll probably add some lights later on in a detailing episode. And I was like, well, what can I put on the outside of this area? And I do actually end up adding a building. I don't know if do I do it right now? Yes, I do. So just a hat's stall right here with a very simple building, but it fills it in quite nicely for, you know, just that area, because there's an empty spot on the pathway and you want to keep guests entertained while they exit the rides. And, you know, usually gift shops are the first thing that are there the second you exit a ride, and that's very common. And I hope we can actually do that, have walk-in shops in the future, and that would be something really cool I'd like to see in Planet Coaster somewhere down the road. Because right now it's just the little stalls that you can actually implement into your buildings, and who knows what the shops is going to offer itself. So this little castle I thought would be kind of a neat little feature for this building. It would probably be the main part of this building, and that is just what it becomes. And hat's fantastic. I wanted to create like this little background for this sign, and I ended up going with this one simply because it's very generic and it fits pretty well with the hat's fantastic logo. So again, very simple building details, nothing too fancy. And that's how I like to keep this park mostly, is just some normal style building. So by no means do I have any advanced building skills, but I'm still learning and I'll get there eventually. So that is this part, and that's this building. Ow. So but that I believe I do a little bit more rock work after I finish this building over here, which turned out to be a pretty decent building for the length of time that I did build it in. Nothing too fancy or special, but it still did pop out pretty well. Now the main part I wanted to do over here was to actually work on the rock work, but I actually think this is the part where I actually add this flat ride. I thought I did that next episode, but apparently it was this episode. I don't know where my memory is at. I thought this another ride would fit really well in this area, and this genie ride seemed to do the trick. So just a simple queue for a simple flat ride, and a pathway leading all the way back, and it was such a long straight pathway that there had to be something on this pathway before opening this section up. You have to have another building there. You just had to. So I decided to put a set of bathrooms on this side, and it fit quite nicely into the theming of this area. Of course, the entire area is themed the same way, I suppose. I don't really know what I'm rambling on about. I guess I'm just trying to keep commentary going while I'm building this in these time lapses, because I hardly remember these, because I actually recorded these quite some time ago, and they're just releasing as we go along. But there's some bathrooms here with some cool looking signs, and I believe I get into the foliage here and the trees to decorate this spot up just a little bit more and give it a little bit more pizzazz. And I thought these trees alongside the genie ride would be kind of a cool little touch to the park, or this part of the park, and just a nice little section for this flat ride itself. And you can't ever go wrong with palm trees. and these, of course, little flowery trees. I don't know what they're actually called, but they do a great job of what they need to do. And just adding scenery and foliage around your queue lines and around your rides just make them look 10 times better, even though they might not look that great. And that's the honest truth. So this is the Genie, and I decided to keep the traditional sign kind of with it and cover up as much of that ugly yellow as I could with the little signs and stuff. And yeah, so some foliage to block the views of this queue line over here, just to give it a little bit more of a natural feel to the area. And just in a matter of seconds, you can just completely see what it looks like, the difference, and how much better it looks when you add this stuff like this. So I decided to use these rocks as the barrier for the kind of a wall or fence in a way. So I like using rocks and for theming wise for like this situation, and trees, and I just love the look of the area because it's also the entrance of the hypercoaster as well over there, and it's quite neat. And it was time for me to actually create this little area section of the it was going to be kind of like a courtyard kind of thing for this section of the queue line, and it would just be literally a wall around it. It's an outdoor part of the queue line that will have has trees and foliage and stuff like that. And this is actually the last part we do in this video, which is quite nice and quite fancy, and trying to fit all the foliage I can inside this little part. I could have made it just a little bit bigger, and possibly could have added some props, but that's about it. And I thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day and an even cooler tomorrow. See you next time. Goodbye.